Dear students, today I am going to discuss the second chapter of history, the extension of the British rule or the expansion of the British rule. Dear students, in this chapter you will learn about Anglo-Maratha Wars, the consolidation of the British power, no succession rights for the adopted children, which means doctrine of lapse. Then we are going to discuss about the subsidiary alliance system, and lastly we are going to discuss about Anglo-Sikh wars. Dear students, in the previous chapter you have discussed about the Carnatic Wars. After the Carnatic Wars, the English had made other European countries not to challenge them in India, even though they gained complete political control over Bengal through the Battle of Plassey and through the Battle of Buxar. By the time of 1765, British gained completely control over northeastern part of India, but since they had the problem in Marathas and Mysore states, because these two states were dominant in southern and western part of India, but the British had hold only in Bengal and Bombay regions. You know that in Mysore, Hyder Ali and Tippu Sultan were strongest ruler and they were the biggest opponent to the British. Likewise, in Marathas, Peshwas were strong and they were also challenged to the British to expand their territories over in India. But apart from this, you can see northwestern regions. In the northwestern region, Sikh rulers were very strong. Among the Sikh, Ranjit Singh, who was known as the Lion of Punjab, who emerged in the later part of 19th century, was a formidable opponent to the British, even though he was successful in organizing the Sikhs under one territory. The British also waged continuous war or repeated wars from the mid of 18th century to mid of 19th century to expand their territories in India, even though they also captured various kingdoms with their cunning policies like subsidiary alliance system and doctrine of lapse. During this period, the British waged following wars: 3 Anglo-Maratha wars, 4 Anglo-Mysore wars and 2 Anglo-Sikh wars. In this chapter, we are going to discuss 3 Anglo-Maratha wars and 2 Anglo-Sikh wars, and 4 Anglo-Mysore war we are going to discuss in the 4th chapter of history. Let me discuss the first Anglo-Maratha wars. The Anglo-Maratha wars, which was started from 1775 to 1818. Let me discuss the first Anglo-Maratha War. The first Anglo-Maratha War, which was started from 1775 to 1782, the war went on 7 years. The reason for the first Anglo-Maratha War. Before going to discuss the reason for the Anglo-Maratha War, what are the causes for the enmity between Marathas and British? The reasons are very simple. After the Battle of Buxar, you discussed in the first chapter the Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar. After the Battle of Buxar, what happened means Shah Alam II came under the director of British and he was under the care of British also. When he was under the care of British, he had given Diwani rights to the British. Along with that, he had given some of the village like Kora and Allahabad. Now what happened? With the help of Marathas, Shah Alam II back on the throne of Mughal Empire in Delhi. When he was the emperor of Delhi, he has taken 2 villages back from the British, and the same village he had given to the Marathas. Due to this, the clashes were enmity was started between Marathas and British. Due to this, the Anglo-Maratha wars were started. Now, what are the important causes for the Anglo-Maratha war? The reasons are, during this period, the death of Madhav Rao was one of the main reasons to the Maratha families, because until he was alive, he was united all the Maratha family under one federation. When he was died, his brother became the Peshwa of Maratha. His name is called as Narayan Rao. But it was not accepted by his uncle, means he was not tolerated. So his uncle name is called as Raghoba or Raghunath Rao. What he has done? He was murdered to Narayan Rao and he became the Peshwa. But it was not supported by other Maratha families like Padnavis. So this Padnavis family or the federation, they supported Madhav Rao II, the son of Narayan Rao. The Madhav Rao II also called as Savai Madhav Rao. In his childhood, we are calling him Savai Madhurao. Later on, he became Madhurao II. So when other Maratha federation supported, or means other Maratha family supported Madhavrao II as the Peshwa of Marathas, it was not supported by Raghunath Rao, or it was not accepted by Raghunath Rao or Raghoba. So what he has done, he got upset with this development and he sought the help of, means he sought the help of British. When he sought the help of, when he approached the British, what happened? British is also waiting for the good opportunity to declare war over Marathas because of two places. One is Kora and Allahabad. Now British got chance to declare war over Marathas when Raghoba sought the help of British. So British declared war over Marathas. That war is known as the First Anglo-Maratha War, which was started from 1775 to 1782. In the beginning of the war, British got setback in some places. Later on, British got upper hand. And then what happened after the war? When British got upper hand, British defeated almost all Maratha families. When Marathas came to know that they are unable to compete with the British, they did one agreement. That agreement is called as Salbai Agreement. So the first Anglo-Maratha War, which came to an end with the Treaty of Salbai. On the basis of Salbai Treaty, Britishers were chosen Madhavrao II as the Peshwa of Marathas. Let me discuss the subsidiary alliance system. Dear students, who introduced subsidiary alliance system and when? The subsidiary alliance system was introduced or institutionalized by Lord Wellesley in 1798. In the year 1798, Lord Wellesley arrived to India. The expansion of the British Empire took place in a larger pace after the arrival of Lord Wellesley as the Governor General of India. By this time, the two important states, which means Marathas and Mysore, had become very weak and it is very easy to expand the British power over in India. When Lord Wellesley arrived to India, he implemented or he introduced three important policies. There were subsidiary alliance system, waging war against new states and administering the states directly that were under the control of the British. But among three policies, two policies became failed, only became successful, that is subsidiary alliance system. So subsidiary alliance system was introduced in 1798 in order to bring Indian states under the British control. This was basically a military protection agreement between the East India Company and Indian state. What is subsidiary alliance system? Subsidiary alliance system means it is a military protection agreement between East India Company and Indian states. Let me discuss what are the important conditions of subsidiary alliance system. The first condition is the Indian king had to keep the British army in his kingdom. As per the system of subsidiary alliance, the Indian king has to keep one of the British army under his kingdom. The second condition is the concerned state had to bear the expenses of the army and wages of the soldier, even though they have to give certain revenue land to the British. Which means, which king accepted subsidiary alliance system, that king has to pay salary for the British soldier, even though he has to give some of the land for the revenue purpose. The third condition is the king has to have a British resident in his court. As per the subsidiary alliance system, Indian king has to be appointed one of the British officer. A resident means officer in his court. The fourth condition is the king could not appoint any other European without the permission of the British. Means here without the British power or without the Governor General of India, the Indian king should not appoint any other European officer in his court, especially French or Dutch and all. And the fifth condition is, in order to enter any agreement or pact with any Indian government, the permission of the Governor General was important or mandatory. So which means, if suppose any Indian kings wanted to do fight or wanted to do agreement with another Indian kings, means that time the Indian king should be taken the permission of the Governor General. It is compulsory. And the sixth condition, if Indian king accepted these are the condition of the subsidiary alliance system, then only the British offering support or offering protection to the state from any internal or external aggression. Means if Indian king accepted these are the conditions of the subsidiary system, then only in return of all these services the company would offer protection to the state from any internal or external aggression. You know that what are the advantage for the East India Company and what are the disadvantage for the Indian state. Actually, the advantage for the East India Companies are the British will get salary from the Indian kings due to the subsidiary system, and they will get land for the revenue purpose. But it is a loss for the Indian kings because due to the subsidiary system, Indian king has to pay salary for the Indian soldier as well as they has to pay salary and wages for the British soldier. Due to this, many of the Indian kings lost their kingdom. And who accepted the subsidiary system in India first time? The subsidiary system was accepted in India first time by Hyderabad, means the Nizams of Hyderabad. The Nizam dynasty accepted subsidiary system in India. Later on, it was accepted by Mysore, then Awadh, then Tanjore, Maratha, Pune, Berar, Arcot, Gwalior and other states came under the directorate of subsidiary alliance system. Now, let me discuss the Second Anglo-Maratha War, which was started from 1803 to 1805, which means the war went on 2 years. What are the causes or reasons for the Second Anglo-Maratha War? The difference among the Maratha chieftains was the main reason for the Second Anglo-Maratha War. How means, in Maratha family or in Maratha Federation, numbers of families were there, chieftains were there. Among them, Holkar, Scindia, Bhonsle, like this numbers of families will come. In that family, enmity broke out between Yashwantrao of Holkar and Daulatrao of Scindia, even though Peshwa Balajirao II. So in the year 1802, the army of Holkar, means Yashwantrao of Holkar family, he defeated the army of Scindia and the Peshwa. When Peshwa got defeated by Yashwantrao of Holkar family, he sought the help of British. During that time, Lord Wellesley was the Governor General of India. Finally, he had got the opportunity to interfere with the affairs of Marathas. When he got the chance to interfere in the Marathas' affairs, he asked to the Balajirao II to agree the Treaty of Bassein. When he agreed Treaty of Bassein, on the basis of Treaty of Bassein, British made him to accept its subsidiary system. But other Maratha family members were not accepted the Treaty of Bassein, even though they were not ready to accept subsidiary system, especially Holkar, Gwalior and Bhonsle. When Marathas families were not ready to accept Treaty of Bassein and subsidiary system, the Lord Wellesley, means the Governor General of India, he declared war over Marathas from 1803 to 1805. The Second Anglo-Maratha War went on 2 years. In that 2 years, Lord Wellesley did continuous war. Due to that continuous war, British got financial setback, but also they won the Second Anglo-Maratha War. But what happened after 1805? British asked resignation from the Lord Wellesley because of his war thrustiness. British got completely lost, means financial loss. When they asked resignation, he given resignation for his post and he went back to his motherland. After that, in Maratha region, peace was there. Let me discuss the Third Anglo-Maratha War. The Third Anglo-Maratha War, which was happened in 1817, it went up to 1818, which means the war went on 1 year. What are the reasons for the Third Anglo-Maratha War? The reasons are the Maratha families tried their best to protect their independence and honor from the British, even though the Peshwa Balajirao II, he wanted to become free from the British clutches, so he was attacked on British residency in Pune and he burnt it down. The same time, Appa Sahib of Nagpur and Mallarao of Holkar rebelled against the British, but they did not get the chance to defeat the British. By British only they got defeat. Finally, Peshwa Balajirao II fought against the British at Koregaon and Asti. In that place, British defeated Balajirao II and they cancelled the Peshwa post and they given pension to Balajirao II. Now what happened? What are the effects of the Third Anglo-Maratha War? Now the British already cancelled the post of Peshwa and they granted, means they given pension to Balajirao II. Now British appointed Pratapasinghe. He was the relatives, descendant of the Shivaji, and he made as the ruler of Satara. Means British made one small state in that place. They named as Pratapasinghe as the king. So like this, British captured all part of Maratha kingdom under the British Empire. Now, the consolidation of the British power. The consolidation means uniting. So, the consolidation of British power was started from 1818 to 1857. The consolidation of British power was happened from 1818 to 1857. During that time, they occupied major states in India like Sindh, Oudh, and many other small states. Dear students, let me discuss the Anglo-Sikh Wars. In this topic, we are going to study two Anglo-Sikh wars. Before going to start this topic, I would like to say about the Raja Ranjit Singh. Raja Ranjit Singh was the son of Palan Singh, who was born in 1780 in Punjab province. His father was the head of Sukarcha K Misl out of 12 Misl in Punjab. Here, Misl refers to the sovereign states. At the age of 10, Raja Ranjit Singh had lost his father, and when Raja Ranjit Singh completed 19 years, during that time, the Muslim ruler of Kabul invaded over India from the side of Lahore. During this time, Raja Ranjit Singh offered free service to Jaman Shah. Because of that reason, Jaman Shah appointed him as the governor of Lahore with the title of Raja. Henceforth, Ranjit Singh was known as Raja Ranjit Singh, even though he had the title the Lion of Punjab. Afterwards, he made one of the strong kingdom in Punjab. That kingdom is called as Sikh kingdom or Sikh dynasty. Even though he formed a strong army, that is Khalsa. The Khalsa army is equivalent to the European army. For that reason, Britishers were having little fear about the Ranjit Singh, and they made continuous friendship pact with Ranjit Singh from 1809 to 1839. When Raja Ranjit Singh was died, after that British started to violating the continuous friendship pact what they had earlier with the Ranjit Singh. In December 1845, a war broke out between the British and Punjab. That war is called as the First Anglo-Sikh War. By sanctioning the danger from an outside force, the Hindus, Sikhs and Muslims got together to defeat the British. Finally, in the war, Indian rulers means Sikh, Hindus and Muslim ruler got defeated because some of the traitors who had given support for the British. What are the effects of the First Anglo-Sikh Wars? In the First Anglo-Sikh Wars, Sikhs are losers in battle, and they signed a mutilating treaty which is called as Lahore Agreement in 1846. With the Treaty of Lahore Agreement, in Punjab, British resident was appointed and he became the de facto ruler of Punjab. Like this, Punjab became the dependent state of East India Company. But this development was not tolerated by the two governors of Punjab. One is in Lahore and one is in Multan. So in Lahore, Chattar Singh Atariwala opposed to pay the tax for the British resident or British government. Likewise, in Multan, Mulraj opposed to pay the tax for the British government. Due to this, again war was broke out between British and these two governors. That war is called as Second Anglo-Sikh War. In the Second Anglo-Sikh War, British completely defeated Chattar Singh Atariwala and Mulraj. Finally, whole part of Punjab came under the rule of British government. When Lord Dalhousie came in India, he merged the state of Punjab with the British Empire. Let me discuss the doctrine of lapse. Who introduced or who popularized doctrine of lapse? Actually, doctrine of lapse was there during the time of East India Company. When Lord Dalhousie arrived to India, he popularized doctrine of lapse. Then all the credit goes to him. Dalhousie, who arrived in India as the Governor General in 1848 and made an attempt to integrate Indian princely states with the British Empire. He adopted doctrine of lapse policy, whereby the adopted children of Indian kings were refused of their rights to throne. According to this system or according to this policy, if any Indian ruler dies without children, their adopted children had no legal right over the throne or the kingdom. Means if Indian king dies without children, then that kingdom will not go for his adopted son. The kingdom will go under the British power. Means such state gets merged with the British Empire. So which are the states or which are the princely states came under the direct rule of doctrine of lapse? The Satara, the Jaipur, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Jhansi, Nagpur, these all the states came under the direct rule of British Empire because Lord Dalhousie, he knew that the condition of these states and he used this policy as a political weapon. Now, due to the doctrine of lapse, many Indian kings lost their states, and that is the reason for the 1857 revolt. When Indian kings lost their kingdom due to the doctrine of lapse and subsidiary system, due to this, many rulers lost their kingdom, even though we were dependent for that kingdom, especially soldiers. They became unemployed. These soldiers, the people, and the kings were the reason for the 1857 revolt. Students, let me recall the important points or questions from this chapter. The first one is the subsidiary alliance system was implemented by. The answer is Lord Wellesley. The second one is the doctrine of lapse policy implemented by. The answer is Lord Dalhousie. Likewise, two more questions are there. The first one is which are the cunning policy of the British? The policies are subsidiary alliance system and doctrine of lapse. And the two more question is second one, what are the effects of subsidiary system? The first effect is the British could place Indian state under their control through this policy and the maintenance of the army became easy. The second one is the Indian state were subjected severe economic exploitation. The third one is the Hyderabad state was the first state to enter this agreement.